Recently I've noticed that this mint that's been provided by AeroGarden isn't growing that well. Now there was a problem originally with this mint, and it didn't have one of these green cover slips over the AeroGarden grow media. So I did a little research, and I did found actually that there was some green algae growing in this media actually, and you can see it right here. The green algae, it's pretty prevalent. However, it hasn't got to the root yet. The roots are still growing, so this plant is still growing, but it's definitely stunted. And the problem is now that the green algae is actually spread, and I've noticed that it's spread to the other plants. So green algae actually starts from pores. That's generally a contamination. You probably bring it from outside. And the problem is that this green algae, it's photosynthetic, just like your plant is. So what happened is the missing green cover. So this green cover is actually put in strategically by AeroGarden, so to prevent light reaching the rest of the media, because this green algae actually requires light to grow. So without the green slip, there's actually formation of these spores and the growth of that green algae. And that's problematic because this green algae, if it goes out of control, if you're slow to detect it, it essentially covers up the roots. And these roots are not photosynthetic. They actually respire, so they require oxygen. So if you actually have lots of green algae on these roots, it actually stunts the growth of your plant. So you want to fix this immediately, as soon as you detect it. Some people actually suggest just tossing the plant, but I think we can actually fix this with a couple of steps. But mainly we need to clean our AeroGarden and somehow cover this area with something that will prevent the lights from seeping through and reformation of that. Walk through the steps of the cleaning. It's not very difficult. It's just we're going to use hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide doesn't damage the roots, but it will kill the green algae. And we're going to actually follow the steps that AeroGarden has for cleaning this machine. And we're going to use a quarter glass of bleach. So a quarter glass of bleach mixed with water. We're going to run the pump for 5 minutes. Wash with water. We need to get rid of this chlorine out completely. They suggest cleaning once with water, but I'm going to clean a couple times and run the pump with water. So I took off the infected casing around the sponge, and I took off the top layer. And I believe the top layer should be the only section containing the majority of the green algae, because again, it needs light to survive. Then I took and sprayed the Q-tips with hydrogen peroxide. It's only 3%, but I used the Q-tips to go over the top of the sponge again, and just around it. It doesn't damage the roots because it's just such a low percentage, but it will kill any spores that's left on it. Now, the water inside is clearly contaminated. It's not clear like it should be. So we're going to dump this, and we're going to pour some bleach and water. What you want to definitely do is just hydrogen peroxide all the little nooks and crannies. You can see that green algae just comes right off. And we're going to spray them in nicely, and we're going to go over them with paper towel. Be very generous with this. It is weak hydrogen peroxide at the end of the day. And take the lid. Make sure you do that. You want to be as thorough as possible, because there's no point of doing this once and then you have reformation of the green algae. So you want to do this once and once only. So when I was looking through YouTube to find any videos on how I can fix this, there wasn't that many, and a lot of people reported that this is a recurrent problem. And this is likely the reason why. You can see that we just taken apart the actual contraption that holds the sponges. Split that open, and you can see the green algae forming. You got to get rid of all of this to actually prevent this reformation of green algae. So I'm going to use hydrogen peroxide to kill all of this. So the AeroGarden has been completely cleaned from the inside, and now it's running with bleach for 5 minutes. After it runs, we're going to clean it one more time with water, and then again with water to make sure there's no bleach, because the last thing you want is bleach to kill and all your little... So this is the finished product. As you can see, we don't have any more light seeping through, and the top layer of that AeroGarden media is removed. Now this is my homemade aquaponics system, and there'll be more videos on how I actually made and designed this thing, but we have some lettuce, we have basil, and we have other salad greens growing here, but that's for a different video. So I'm going to put this mint in here, and hopefully it should start rooting soon and we'll have a healthy plant again.